For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's what it's supposed to be. They're bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
The U.S. Secretary of State meets with St. Lucia's Prime Minister, Mr. Philip J. Pierre, and his sub-regional counterparts. What somebody has to say about Guy Joseph that gives the impression that he's feared. He's seen as a political force that should be kept out of the island's parliament. All that and more between now and 2 o'clock. This is the most monitored talk show in the world, and it's on the NewsSpin Facebook page as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel and Power 97.9 FM. In a moment as well, we'll be taking your calls at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. And Amanda will be going through some of your comments in the chat room, as we hope that you are definitely enjoying your Wednesday and you're all set for yet another fascinating NewsSpin program. So many people would have been caught by surprise. Political pundits, political observers, ordinary St. Lucians were not even so interested in politics by the outcome of the elections of 2021, and in particular, the outcome of the results with regard to the Castries Southeast seat. Because many saw Guy Joseph, former Economic Development Minister, as an invincible force politically, and he could not have been defeated in the last general election. Well, he suffered not only a surprising defeat, but according to the stats, a massive one as well. Because you expect in certain instances, if you deem a politician to be a political behemoth, and one that is a veteran politician at that, if they're going to lose a seat, you expect them to lose by less than 100 votes, as was the case in Soufrière, where Herod Stanislas lost by, I think it was 65 votes. But in the case of Castries Southeast, Joachim Henry, with all his baggage, won that seat by 437 votes. Now, have to be careful. When I say Joachim Henry and all his baggage, I know you guys are monitoring the program. I'm talking about this incident which occurred in the church, the Adventist church, in the Castries Southeast constituency just a few weeks before the last general election. That is what I was referring to specifically, because it was an action that was deemed to be controversial, and I'm sure that even at the time, although the hierarchy of the St. Lucia Labour Party had put their weight behind Mr. Henry and gave him their full support, I think they would have believed that this certainly would have caused him to be vulnerable in the eyes of the voters of the constituency. Yet still, he won by 437 votes. And so I stumbled upon this clip that is in circulation. Many of you, maybe you have also found it on your phone or discovered it on your phone, where a talk show host and well-known supporter of the St. Lucia Labour Party is giving every indication that all must be done to ensure that even if the St. Lucia Labour Party were to win the next general election by the same margin which it won in 2021, 15-2, every effort must be made to ensure that Guy Joseph is not elected into office because of the implications. Let's listen to what Shelton Daniel recently said.
Whenever the election is called, is another 15-2. I would love for that 15-2, for that 2 not to include Guy Joseph. And the flip side would be for Guy Joseph to come back. If Guy Joseph were to come back into the parliament, it may have no difference. Numbers, but politics is more than just numbers. Politics is about energy. It's about momentum. If Guy Joseph were to come there, the kind of energy, he would energize Chasney. You see all the boo-boos and the pappy shows Chasney doing ineffective. One of the reasons for it is that Bradley does not have the kind of impact and influence to really be someone who gives Chasney that little strengthening of the spine, that little prod, that little prop, that little support. He doesn't have it. Even if he has it, he's probably a guy who's too afraid of Chasney, too afraid of his own skin. A Guy Joseph coming there might well be, the since when that's your rule kind of person that might cause Chasney's tail to be up a little more and a little better. I'm not saying it's not being done, but whoever goes up for the Labour Party in Castries Southeast needs to make it the absolute obsession and determination that no matter what happens, we don't want Guy Joseph to be back there again. If that 15-2 results in Guy Joseph coming back into the House of Assembly, I telling you, I'm going to feel more sad about that development than I will feel about the fact that they won 15-2. I believe if they are to win 2 seats, every effort must be made and put into ensuring that one of those 2 is not Guy Joseph.
What if this is a Freudian slip on the part of Mr. Shelton Daniel? Because what he has done there, if the opposition, United Workers' Party, is taking note, is to energize them, and give them a weapon in their armory that maybe they were not appreciating prior to that particular observation. Because by all indication, the impression has been given that particularly this time around, Mr. Guy Joseph is definitely a threat to the St. Lucia Labour Party. It's not very often you hear political opponents speak about their arch political rivals in that kind of manner. Basically, giving them kudos, showering praise on them, and that is being done inadvertently so. And for supporters of the St. Lucia Labour Party, it certainly signals that they probably should use whatever ammunition that they have. Their efforts, their energy should focus on Mr. Guy Joseph as he seeks to retain the Castries Southeast seat. And we could stretch it a bit by also imagining that possibly all kind of resources will be utilized, no effort will be spared in one form or the other to ensure that Guy Joseph does not win that seat, Castries Southeast. And we have to ask ourselves, how far will the St. Lucia Labour Party go to ensure that it not only wins that seat, but in the process humiliates Guy Joseph? So Guy Joseph has been put on notice, as the new phrase these days, putting you on notice, that he has to keep a watchful eye on whatever methods that would be employed in that constituency, maybe legal and otherwise, just to ensure that he is defeated because of how he is perceived in terms of him being a political opponent and apparently one that is feared as well. So still on the Guy Joseph theme, he has been speaking about the St. Jude Hospital reconstruction project and certain statements that has been made in the last few days as a result of a documentary, the third in a series by Dale Elliott and his company, as they continue to focus on the fiasco, the embarrassment that is that St. Jude Hospital reconstruction project. Several years later, about 16 years later, we are still focusing on this initiative, not because it has materialized, not because the hospital is in a fully functional state, and those patients and the staff at the George Odlum Stadium in V4 have been relocated. No, it's not because of this. It is because the possibility does exist in the not too distant future that there will be an opening of a St. Jude hospital after that 2009 fire.
And I challenge St. Lucians, go and watch the Untold Stories documentary. Don't watch it from the perspective of a UWP or a Labour administration. Watch it from the information that is presented. Mr. Elliott has a few inches taller than me, but he could stretch his hand and touch the ceiling. And what did the engineer, Mr. Joshi, say? We work with what we were given. It's not ideal. Really? spending $250 million, and we get something that is less than ideal. And as we speak to you, St. Kitts is building a brand new hospital with the same OECC contractors who are in St. Lucia. A country of 35, maybe 50,000 people, now constructing a hospital much bigger than St. Jude. I did not have one place in the report the number of beds that will be available at the refurbished St. Jude Hospital. And of course, pen can make anything look good. It's the functionality of the hospital that we are concerned about.
That's the United Workers' Party first deputy political leader, Mr. Guy Joseph. We have several other issues to focus on between now and when we conclude the broadcast. But in the meantime, let's take your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. And let me see if I have a few of your comments to go through. Tim, they're going to do it by voters dumping in Castries southeast. And another WhatsApp message. Tim, little does Shelton Daniel know, he just gave Guy Joseph more momentum. We have a call on the line. Let's see if we have a call there at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. And somebody says there, do we have a call? No, we don't. Somebody says via WhatsApp, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that for the Jazz Festival, this SLP administration has gone back to the same old failed strategy of giving thousands of complimentary tickets to its supporters, followed by the inevitable net loss for the country. If you believe the government's propaganda, the attendance at the shows have been phenomenal, but it's only after the expenses are subtracted from the revenue that we will see the real picture. Only then will we know whether the festival has been a success or a predictable, dismal failure. I am not in a position to determine whether the authorities are giving out dozens of complimentary tickets, but that is what is being suggested. But clearly, I am sure that after there's been a post-mortem and the data has been analyzed, then a determination will be made or should be made as to the number of complimentary tickets that would have been given out to people in St. Lucia. We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin on the air. Hello.
Good day, Tim.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes, good afternoon. You know, Tim, I've been on this planet for a little while, not too long, but long enough. And I got the privilege last week, Tuesday, of literally going to the Prime Minister's constituency. Tim, for the first time, I am a St. Lucian. I've always been living in St. Lucian. For the first time, I find myself in Marcia. It was not deliberate. I did not plan to go there, but somehow I was with somebody and they had to go there and collect something. Tim, I felt like I was in the 1980s. No joke. And early 1980s at that. I am saying, with all what I've been hearing about the Prime Minister's constituency, Tim, I never thought it was so bad. It's like Marcia is part of some other country, not St. Lucia. Marcia is a country by itself. To see the state of the housing in Marcia, Tim, it's really sad. It tells me that not that the Prime Minister should push his hands in his pocket or state funds to build homes for the people, but at least if you provide avenues, if you provide, jobs in a way that those persons could get to work and they can now, fix up their homes, do a proper house for themselves, you understand? But The state I saw there, I'm telling you, it reminded me of the 1980s in the rural communities, Tim. That's what I saw. It's not looking good in that place. And to tell me you keep on voting for a man. So what are you saying to yourself? You have the best? Have you been going outside of Marshall to see what it looks like in other communities? And to tell yourself that I deserve more? In a prime minister's constituency, it tells you that. I remember when Shasney came down south, me good south. Shasney started working from the first day he became prime minister. When he came to Diga and he saw the state of the road, built, the concrete road from Diga to as far as, the residents were living. You understand? He came, build a new multi-purpose center, upgrade the field, did, everything he could have done to elevate the lifestyle of the people, the life of the people in the constituency. When you tell me you are a prime minister, your road in your prime location in your constituency is in a mess. The house is in a mess. When people reach in that area, it's like they're in the Stone Age. Really? For a prime minister, and today you coming back claiming that you're a 5-star general for doing what? For keeping the people poor? Keeping the people in your pocket that you can give them a little change every time they see you so they'll continue voting for you? Really? Tim, have a good day.
You too, sir. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. 716-2026. And people give the impression that Marcia is Castries East. Marcia is part of that constituency. So you have Bocage as part of the Castries East constituency. You have Entrepot, you have Independent City, you have Rock Hall, and my producer is looking at me suspiciously. I think he's saying to himself, "Oh, Tim, you're spinning." No, I'm not spinning. I'm just being realistic because you listen to people call the various programs, call NewsSpin and so on, and they continue to focus on Marcia. Marcia is not the only part of the Castries East constituency. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Let's see, we have another WhatsApp message, and somebody says that, Tim, I alone got 5 complimentary jazz tickets. Can imagine how many other complimentary tickets were issued. We have some more of your messages. Somebody says, you mean to tell me a little man like Mr. Guy Joseph has these men pants so tight up their butts? And another WhatsApp message. Somebody says that Marcia is the capital of Castries. Okay, caller, you correct there. We can't dispute that at all. And let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Tim, the people in Marcia are very comfortable with their low life. They are lazy and believe in the handouts, poor job. Can't endorse that at all. I have many friends over in Marcia, and I cannot endorse you saying that. But anyway, that is your point of view that you just shared with the audience. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Somebody says there, Tim, good afternoon to you and the listeners. I have a question hoping to get answered. With the Halls of Justice having been moved from its original site, does it mean that the project has gotten more expensive and before it has even began, it is going into cost overrun? I'm hoping before we conclude the broadcast this afternoon, we'll be hearing from somebody who could shed some light on this particular question or answer that question that you just posed. Good afternoon to you, Amanda. Let's find out what is happening in the chat room.
Good afternoon, Tim. Good afternoon, new spinners. Bear with me, Tim. My document is loading. Oh, you'll have to get back to me.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Amanda. We'll have an update for you in just a moment, so if you can rectify whatever problem that you are experiencing at this point in time. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. 716-2026. I think I have a WhatsApp message. It says that, Tim, don't you sense election? I see Richard Frederick now rushing projects in the city. This is crazy. Politicians need to respect us. I pray that they do not return to office. There is a clear difference with Chasney. They see his potential as a great leader to push St. Lucia towards progress. Let's see if we have a call there via WhatsApp. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you on the air. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Yeah, hello.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. I just want to say, like, we got 2025, right? And to tell me, like, you have two structures, and you choose to go back to the old structure. I mean, what kind of planning is that? Like, how many years do we plan to stay in this old structure? This well, I would say the older hospital. Mm-hmm. How many years again we plan to stay there? You know, what is the I would just say that. How could they foresee themselves in the future? I mean, like, I watched the documentary. I mean, you could touch this. It's like going in that team. You had to like bend over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, nobody. So that means that's a discrimination to people like Poleon. You can't employ nobody to a certain height because, I mean, that's a mockery. I mean, you tell me you leave a modern hospital where things are more modernized and standardized, you know? And my problem too is these engineers thing. Them engineers doing a disservice to the country thing because when you go to school and do engineering and do those laws you have to follow because you have to make the right. It's mandatory that you make the right decision on behalf of the people. So you tell me an engineer approve the go ahead of this building. What kind of engineers do we have in St. Lucia, man? What school they went to? Or what degree? I mean, I don't know. Would they buy the engineering certificate or something? Because that's a disgrace to the people. As an engineer, then man should lose their license. You cannot tell me you're approving a bill. No. Anyway, Tim, that's my frustration, man. Like, that's crazy, Tim. It's crazy.
Okay,
thank you, man.
All
Have
right.
a nice day.
You too. Thank you so much. Calling from the diaspora. Let's see if we have another contribution via WhatsApp. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, call a big fix up and set up the people nice. They won't vote for him again because they will have their own. No more handouts. And that was a WhatsApp message. Let's see if we have some more messages. Okay, all right. Can't go through this one. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Well, obviously, the fact that the authorities have decided to go to the old St. Jude Hospital project, one can assume, and I can only make the assumption, that it passed certain tests. And definitely, those people who are trained to carry out such assessments, they would have done so, bearing in mind that as professionals, they ought to do things that are in the best interest of the country and the people and not be political. But I think what was very lacking is that during that particular period of the construction, we did not have too many independent thinkers coming forward to speak on that particular initiative. It is mainly persons who are perceived to be supporters of the main political party, the governing political party, who are endorsing it. We have Mr. Peter Josie online via WhatsApp as we say hello and good afternoon to you, sir. You are on the air.
Good afternoon, Jim, and how are you doing?
I am okay, Mr. Josie. How about you?
I would like to make a call, Jim, but I have been so distressed and disappointed in the level of debate in St. Lucia. I don't even know where to start, so I suspect what I will do, even people whose intelligence I trusted and thought that they would at least be brave and bold and sufficiently to make a statement which may appear to be attacking the government or the party which they do not support. you don't get a word edgewise. I was very relieved, however, to hear Alan Chastanet. I think he was probably at his best dissecting the passport issue. So I'm calling, and you'll notice my voice is a lot calmer. I'm not exciting myself. I want to repeat. I will do whatever it takes within the bounds of the law. I'm not going to break any law. I've never done that before. The only laws I break is when politicians put law for me not to demonstrate, trying to stop the protest. I don't mind going against that law. But as a rule, our normal laws of, all kinds, I try my best never to go outside the normal confines of the law. So I will do whatever I can in my power within the law to see that we have a change of government, and to see, and that is my personal view, that Alan Chastanet becomes the next Prime Minister of St. Lucia, because I would love to see. I'm a little prejudiced, I must say, in what I'm about to say right now. As a born Vifortian, it is time for us to have St. Jude up and running, and to have the training hospital as Alan had envisaged it. It is time for us to have a terminal building that is becoming of Iwanora Airport. I was in St. Vincent last weekend, and with the limited land space that Ralph and these boys had in St. Vincent, they have done the best they could. The terminal building makes our present terminal building look like something that came from 1930s or thereabout. And it's a shame. So I was also in Grenada. Grenada has a little more land space than St. Vincent, but Iwanora is bigger than both of these islands. And certainly what they're planning from Dominica, St. Lucia, Iwanora will still be larger in terms of acreage than Dominica. And I see no reason why in this day of travel, tourism, technology, that we have allowed ourselves to be mamaguide and pushed around and all kinds of cocoa-macacry, as a former prime minister used to say, with a government that spends most of its time trying to deceive us, trying to stay in power by deceit, by giving us fat and things so. And I'll tell you something, it is time more of us who know better take to the public platforms, to the radios, the television, to explain, because this is our country too. And I cannot abide by what is going on now. Every time I look at a picture of Hile and the other one, what's his name? Coxozel, Frederick, just shake my head in shame. I cannot believe St. Lucia has descended to that level. And I need a government in office. And I want a job in that government. I need a job in that government, not for the money, but for the things I would like to execute. We'll have to create a new Ministry of Justice. I'm not a lawyer, but we'll have to work with the Justice Department to bring all the crimes that we suspect that has taken place, bring them before the people, a commission of inquiry, and we have to have tough people to do this commission of inquiry for us. Because it is time the criminals in power begin to pay for their crimes. And that is what is bedeviling St. Lucia now. As I said recently, you cannot tell me that you have forgotten as a St. Lucian when Alan Chastanet was Prime Minister, the COVID was hitting everywhere in the world, almost everywhere, certainly in the Western world, this part of the globe. And people were being asked, St. Lucians were being asked to wear the mask to protect each other from that terrible virus. And there were people who were passing around criticizing the policemen of St. Lucia when they tried to get St. Lucians to wear masks to protect other St. Lucians. I don't remember the number of people who died as a result of COVID virus. You may remember, Timothy. And it was because people in the opposition party at the time were encouraging them, forget about masks, Doris shall stay there, there's no virus, no this, no that. And I think this should be a crime when there is a disease like a virus spreading for people who know better, and they knew better, to go about saying that this is not true, it shall say this and shall say that. You know, I think it is time for us to begin to develop a new St. Lucia. If you can't speak sense, you don't know what you're talking about, keep your dumb mouth shut. You know, even at your home, your children may be ahead of you. Your children may be able to teach you. So don't go and tell your children any nonsense that you don't know about. You understand what I'm saying? So I decided, you know, Tim, I'll call you and tell you, I have not given up, but if you don't hear my voice on the radio, again, don't be surprised, because I think it is now time for serious action. It is time for us to decide which part of the people of St. Lucia we are going to vote for, where we are going to continue our four-lane road, joining Iwanora to Grosile and then Grosile to Castries. These are the points we must have in mind, how we're going to develop our country for the benefit of our young people coming. It's not a matter of just saying it by word of mouth. How are we going to develop Iwanora International Airport so that it becomes on par with Barbados? On par with Barbados, I repeat. That should be our competitor. Not St. Vincent, not Grenada, not Dominica, not even Antigua. Okay? And we must have a better St. Lucia in the image and likeness of what our former Prime Minister had in mind. And that is why I want to stop, because I'm sure that is not the end all and be all of the development. We have feeder roads. We have to bring back agriculture. We may never have bananas back to where it was. And those who kill bananas, I see some of them walking about the place as if they're all innocent. Nothing has happened to these people. You know, the former government literally gave the Banana Association away to their friends in the Salvation Committee. St. Lucians know that. They destroyed the industry, you know, and we are all quiet. I don't understand how we can be quiet about things like that. Maybe I was not born in this place, or maybe I was not born to speak in this place. So, Tim, that is what I have to say for today. But I'm just calling on all St. Lucians of goodwill, good conscience, those that love their country. Stop talking nonsense about Guy Joseph, because the people that are in office today have committed crimes not in the thousands, not in the millions, but in the billions with a B. And those who don't understand that, let them go and ask people who know how to write a billion. Okay, I don't think Guy Joseph himself ever reached counting up to a billion. So tell them to leave Guy Joseph alone and mind their own business, what is going on under their noses. That is what we have to mind. What is going on now? Don't take a nonsense about Shasley, the white man. Guy Joseph is Indian. Guy Joseph is that and that and that. You know, that is just what they call smoking mirrors. You know, trying to mamaguy us. It is time that thing stops. And it is time for St. Lucians who have a voice to open their voice in St. Lucia. Not asking you to go and talk against Trump in America or anywhere else, or against any other prime minister. Speak about your country and how you are going to help to develop your country by getting a better government in place as soon as possible. As soon as possible. I hope to God we have elections, general elections this year in St. Lucia. I don't care if it comes in December or November, any month. We have to have elections this year for us to save St. Lucia. Thank you very much, Timothy.
All right, thank you so much, former government minister, Mr. Peter Josie. Still to come, Amanda will have some comments to go through, extracted from the chat room. This is the most monitored talk show in the world.
KFC is bringing the flavor and the vibes with the Jazz Box. Just $30. Get one zinger or big crunch sandwich, 5 undipped wings, fries, a biscuit, 16-ounce drink, and a shot at VIP Jazz Weekend for 2. Buy a Jazz Box at any of our 5 KFC locations. Write your name and number on the receipt and drop it in the entry box to enter. Draw takes place May 7th. VIP tickets for May 9th, 10th, and 11th could be yours. Available now till May 31st. Only at KFC St. Lucia. Dine in, drive through, or order online at kfcslu.com. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Lazarus's funeral home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbutai at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Lucelec wishes to advise customers and the public that its customer service offices at the Carolec building in Sans Souci and VA4 are temporarily closed to facilitate urgent maintenance. The Lucelec Cantonment office in VA4 is now open on a limited basis, offering all services except payments. The Rodney Bay office remains open to serve customers. Customers who wish to make payments during this closure are encouraged to access the My Account service at myaccount.lucelec.com, SurePay's online and walk-in service options, or participating financial institutions. Payments made via SurePay and My Account Direct on weekdays from 8 to 4 p.m. will be processed to customer accounts the same day. Payments made after 4 p.m. will be processed the next business day. For account balances, please dial the automated account inquiry service line at 457-4433. Customers can access other Lucelec services by using the virtual service desk at www.lucelec.com. The management of Lucelec deeply regrets any inconvenience caused by these closures and thanks its valued customers for their patience and understanding.
Get ready to jazz up your relaxation with M&C Home Depot and Sunbelt. This jazz season, we're turning up the style and the savings. Starting May 5th, enjoy 25% off umbrellas, folding chairs, and coolers. Pure jazz bliss. But hurry, it's for a limited time only. Head to M&C Home Depot or Sunbelt today and get 25% off and celebrate jazz in comfort and style. See in-store and online for details. Sale ends May 11th. Terms and conditions may apply.
So fast pay, a new and easy way to pay. So fast pay, so fast pay.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay.
Flow fast pay, 2 minutes and you're on your way. Flow fast pay, flow fast pay.
Flow is keeping you connected.
Stop. How much more pain can you take? Back pain, blinding headaches, numbness, weak knees, spinal injuries, stroke. You've tried everything. Nothing works. Enough. La Clinique du Corps has the experts and technology to diagnose and fix the problem permanently. Our specialist doctors use cutting-edge solutions to treat back pain, knee pain, sciatica, stroke recovery, spinal injuries, arthritis, heel pain, and more. With advanced pain management techniques, we provide fast, effective relief so you can live pain-free. La Clinique du Corps is an approved universal healthcare service provider in St. Lucia, accepting all approved insurance. Take back your life. Call La Clinique du Corps right now at 451-6559 to book your appointment. Pain stops here.
Essie, don't tell me that tire flat again. I just changed that tire.
Wait, what? You just changed that tire?
Well, I bought a used one because you didn't give me enough money.
Oh, I see. Well, you know what? Chivi's Tire Shop only carry brand new quality tires at affordable prices with free installation.
Hey, it seems you're working at Chivi's Tire Shop. How you know all that?
Come on, Brenda. The tire shop down the road from our home in the American Drywall Building.
Oh, yes. I forgot. Well, you know what, Patrick? Let's go there right now. Take your wallet. Let's go.
Chivi's Tire Shop, located at the American Drywall Building, Vic Butey. Call or WhatsApp 584-5986. Chivi's Tire Shop. Pay less, drive more.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Experience the magic of the St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival 2025. Caribbean Fusion Night is bringing the heat on May 9th at Pigeon Island National Park. Reggae and dancehall icons, Beanie Man and Bounty Killer unite.
Tell them to me don't do so none of them don't like it. Me tell the children, me no place. Woman, if you're fed up with your boyfriend, tell them of the face and them of the figure. Hey. Oh, na.
But that's just the beginning. Young brother
Take it easy, I will do the
Patrice Roberts and St. Lucia's very own Ricky T. The Story. St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival. Purchase tickets at all sell outlets and stluciajazzandartsfestival.com.
On the most monitored talk show in the world, it's time to turn my attention now to Amanda. Let's find out what's happening in the chat room. Your first report.
Good afternoon, Tim. Good afternoon, NewsSpinners. A few comments from earlier in the chat room. Someone says there, don't trust any figures coming from this government. A NewsSpinner says, so representation and performance of a minister in that constituency is not a concern, but rather who will energize Shasne. Lucians, clean out the caca from your ears. Another comment reads, if Guy did what Joachim did in the cathedral, I wonder what the SLP would say. A NewsSpinner says there, so those guys already know the results of the impending elections. Someone says there are all major projects in St. Lucia is a cost overrun. Another comment reads, what became of Minister Poyot's investigation about the briefcase and our passports? Nothing, nada, blanco. A NewsSpinner says there that's why SLP is targeting him with all their lies. Sheldon, you don't have to say that. I know you all are afraid of Guy. Another comment reads, Team Guy will be elected, the SLPs better believe it. Guy is a worker and this has been proven. Compare Guy to his opponents. Someone says there Kenny and Pierre are the same, ignores their constituency for 25 years. Another comment reads, and they will still vote for him again just to protect the victory. Another comment in the chat room reads, so many things are going on in St. Lucia, yet all I am hearing is about jazz and carnival. When it is all over, I would like to hear how much money the government spent and how much money they made. Another comment reads, it's typical of putting themselves, not others, first. They are giving you nothing better than what they had for themselves. And that, I believe, was in large measure the reason for going back to the older facility. Another comment reads, it is time they stop playing party and insist that these gangster politicians pay for their bad actions, examples, and lies. Another comment reads, St. Lucians did not know the longer this government remains in power is the more the country will sink like seaweed. And the comment here reads, Tim, I watched a video on the former Nigerian Minister of Petroleum Resources who is accused of stealing billions from the government. She apparently bought Roosevelt Skerritts a $2.2 million New York apartment.
We don't know that at all. And we cannot prove it. Absolutely not in position to prove that. Thank you so much for that update. Somebody says there via WhatsApp, good afternoon. The height of the St. Jude Hospital is not for St. Lucians. It is for the thousands of Lucian Chinese holding our passports. And we have another WhatsApp message. In my opinion, and if I had my way, okay, can't afford to read this one. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Somebody says there, Tim, there are two schools in Larissus, V4 Comprehensive Secondary School, Campus B, and Plainview Combined School. Reno has completed the resurfacing on this road in February of this year. ropes were used as speed bumps. Now those ropes, they have lost its purpose. And I'm calling on the Prime Minister through Minister Stevenson King to put speed bumps on this road by those two main schools in Larry Sue's V4. Those drivers are flying like it's NASCAR racing track. God forbid something catastrophic happens on this road. Thank you. And another WhatsApp message while we await your calls. Somebody says there via WhatsApp. All right, we'll take a WhatsApp call instead. Good afternoon to you. You're on the air. Hello.
Hey, Tim. Good day.
Hi. Good afternoon to you, caller. Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
I'm all right.
Amanda, good day.
Good afternoon, caller.
Tim, I heard a caller earlier speaking about housing at Marshall. What Marshall looks like from him being, visiting Marshall this week, earlier this last week.
Yeah.
Tim, I must agree with the caller. But like you said, Marshall is not all of Castries. Tim. But we do have a problem, a big issue with housing along most constituencies. And to me, the capital of city should be better off in terms of housing. We do have, until recently, Tim, I can tell you the facilities at Marshall Ground, it is still under repairs. Just probably 2 months, 3 months ago, earlier this year, it started. After all this time under Philip Pierre's watch, the pavilion was not good, the sitting was not good, and even the field surface, Mount Marshall Grounds and Mindu Park, and even the facilities at Mindu Park was not up to par, up to standard. You have two fields alongside each other, Tim, managed by two different entities. Politics on one side, another side is something else. All of this is what having the place, the constituency, not growing, Tim. Public facilities, you have situations like the human resource centers and the community center. The public does not have full access to those facilities. It's politics there, or you have to pay your money. Tim, the constituency, like we say, Castries, Marshall is the capital of Castries, and we ought to be doing better than that. We have a park at Tourouge, Tim, and I want to ask a question. That Tourouge park, persons have said it's the MP's park. I need that situation addressed, Tim. I want to know, whose park is it really? If it's a public park, why is it managed by the MP, whether his government is in power or not in power? I thought those parks have to be under the management of the city constabulary, the city council. That park has been closed since it was built. Presently, there's a big sign on the park saying, the Tourouge park I'm talking about, saying closed for maintenance. Tim, this park has forever been closed. I live in the Marshall area. I have seen that probably in its lifetime. Being honest, I've seen children play in that park for less than 10 times since that park is standing there. So I want to know, is that a private park or is it a public park? Those are issues I want addressed by the people who are defenders, or the defenders of the MP and the Prime Minister. I want them to answer those questions for me too. Have a good day.
You too, sir. Thank you so much for calling. 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. 716-2026. And let me see if I have a WhatsApp message. It reads, Tim, well spoken. This man said it all. I think is referring there to an earlier caller, Mr. Peter Josie, who called the broadcast earlier on. WhatsApp message, somebody says that they decided to be selective in which sections of the box to use. The two sections of the box, I'm sure, are far superior and way advanced as far as completion is concerned. Why couldn't they use the whole new building? It will be interesting to see the completion stage comparison between the two parts of the box and the 80-year-old buildings. And let's see if we have a WhatsApp message. Somebody says, well, I can confirm my brother got over 30 tickets from a rep of the SLP and was told to give out the tickets to whomever he pleased for the Wednesday opening of Jazz event. Despite getting free tickets myself, I could not help wonder the number of people who were in attendance at the show. Most likely, it's not a true reflection of actual true representation of monies received. That was a WhatsApp message. Let's see there if we have another message. Tim called me cynical, but I wonder why I'm thinking that Guy had a hand in that rant by Shelton Daniel in order to raise his dwindling stock in the UWP. You remind us every day on NewsSpin that we shouldn't be surprised by what happens in politics. But you think Guy will be able to convince Shelton Daniel of the St. Lucia Labour Party to be in collusion with him to say something that would prop him up politically? I don't think we can expect something of that nature, something that sinister to happen, a complot between Guy Joseph and Shelton Daniel. No, I don't. Let's see there. If we have any of your WhatsApp messages, somebody says, Tim, that park is only open 3 times a year, and when they have assembly. And let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Tim, business places are also receiving jazz tickets for their staff. We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hi. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Good afternoon, Tim. How are you?
I'm okay, sir. How about you?
Good afternoon to... I'm well, thank you. Good afternoon to Amanda.
Good afternoon, caller.
Tim, est-ce que ça cause pour créole?
Oui, na écoutez-vous.
Tim, ou ça, nous simplifions de l'air, nous tellement intéressés en petits bagailles, comme si nous tellement petits boutiques, parce que l'aspiration, nous, c'est pas pour bailler qui grand. Nous pas qu'à dream grand. Car oui, grand, nous pas grand aspiration, grand ambition. So, les moun nom qui est au gouvernement, qui est en position, autorité, là, ils fait bagaille. Nous pas, dès là, pas même comprendre ni. Et que n'a pas le team à sous-affaire CIP. Ouais, pour combien, about 2 l'année, ministre là qui est responsable CIP, il fait toutes différentes qualités cacol. La dernière fois, il a fait le c'est Mary's College, il a fait gymnastics. Il a pas plier comme ça, sans élastique. Quoi, zo qui cassé. Bon, c'est ça, moi, ministre là, qui a fait. Ministre là qui est responsable, c'est le docteur Ernest Hilaire. Là, il m'a dit une question. Combien passeport, combien passeport by compagnie chinoise, nous avons créé Caribbean Galaxy. Combien passeport ou by ces compagnies ça pour vendre à sous behalf nous? Il répond toutes différentes qualités de questions. Mais il ne répond pas à une question. Il dit, il n'y a pas une authorization, whatever you can create, from company chinoise. So, il pas dit non. Mais one man, Tim, nous avons une vidéo qui a circulé dans les social media et qui a montré le ministre là, Jik Dubai, qui a donné même information ça. Nous, c'est ici, c'est peuple pays, c'est citoyen pays, c'est moun qui a payé taxe là, c'est ici. Il pas ni nous pas désir, nous pas vaut information ça. Son cas ouais, ces hommes ça pas ni respect ou même ces moun qui a employé, même ces moun qui a mettre yo en position pour ça conduire, ça fait pays. Nous pas une pièce respect pour eux, pièce respect. Moi, à présent, nous avons ouais. Même ces contrats là, nous avons demandé là, à présent, tout le monde sort dehors. Parce que là où est l'audience, on nous peut mener évidence, on nous peut mener information. So, nous avons ouais, en lettre qui date depuis juillet l'année passée. Tim ça a presque l'année. Côté, le gouvernement ici commencé, yo d'accord en OICS là, d'être fait yon seul tête. À ce qui manière yo ménager CIP, puis CIP a ménager chaque 3 cas, bah c'est pour payer OICS là. European Union, l'Amérique, tous ces côtés ça qu'a agité, qu'a dit nous pour mettre bail en place. On doit mettre bail en place dans le pays, qu'a fait plus pour nous entrer en pays. So, yo vin ensemble, yo fait des changements. C'est ici demandé pour yo pas signer bail là agreement, là yo te pour signer, là tout l'autre pays te a signé au OICS là. C'est ici pour te signer parce que yo te voulait special arrangement avec ces chinois. Moi après yo ka dit ces chinois bail ka changer, ces chinois ka dit yo, garçon, tout bagay qui change. Si passeport monte, si prix descend, c'est gouvernement, c'est ici qui ni pour point co-sovereign, on mettez quoi. Et Tim, Adam, ou quoi gouvernement nous te ça fait un deal. Côté, nous faisons moun prêter nous, $100 millions l'Amérique, US. 100 millions pour nous faire projet simple ici, pour nous manger chimie, pour nous faire pont, infrastructure. Et puis, nous d'accord pour bailler ces moun ça passeport en valeur pour $600 millions US. Ça c'est 600%. 600% de l'intérêt, pas même cote qu'a charge ça, Tim. Pas même cote qu'a charge autant l'intérêt. Et puis c'est d'accord ça, monsieur Ernest Hiller, le gouvernement c'est ici entre Adam et puis Caribbean Galaxy. Et puis moi, les gens c'est ici qu'a chillé ça. Parce que l'année dernière, il y a créé loan shark. Moi même quoi c'est ici loan shark. Ça veut dire mon cap côté là à ce et puis on pas payer yo ka vinn la caille yo ka croiser toute zone yo ka jeter chaud de là. Qualité deal ça gouvernement nous en fait. Et puis après Tim nous en WIS, tout le monde dans c'est caille l'audience. Nous en WIS pour ces changements qui a le track là. Et puis gouvernement annoncé en janvier that you suspend programme là, c'est programme infrastructure CIP pour faire ranger chimie. Et puis yo cancel contract Caribbean Galaxy. Bon après un Caribbean Galaxy, ça mène l'audience. Yo ça sous nous. Puis après un bail la vini team. Si nous maniana way kalia $250,000 pour yon citizenship qui a coûté pour 100,000. Ça veut dire après nous pour compenser Caribbean Galaxy en lot yon $150,000 US pour chaque passeport you have. Et you have en 3,000. Et bien only 3,000 puis le ministre l'a dit ça. Tim là on fait calculation. Ou ça a venu presque $1.2 billion US pour $100 millions nous prêter. Ça a venu 12 fois 1,200%, 1,200%. Tim, ou ça dit ça en patois, ou ça dit en anglais, ou ça dit en espagnol, ou ça dit en français, ou ça dit en chinois, n'importe langage, ou dit ça dedans, ou ça résulte là, result là c'est that Ernest Hiller supposé résigner position, il supposé fire, et si premier ministre là qui ministre finance, les qui est responsable bagay qui a fait l'argent ou un pays. Et si Ernest Hiller signé puis ça le contrat là, il montre c'est finance. En gouvernement c'est ici, loi c'est ici qui a dit si gouvernement a point pièce loan, il y a pour mener ça à venir à caille parlement pour un approval. Et qui fait ça, il signe un contrat pour $600 millions US pour y payer Caribbean Galaxy, nous gouvernement c'est ici, en exchange pour $100 millions pour faire un projet c'est ici. Il est supposé parti en gouvernement. And right now, vous savez ça qu'il a fait? Il a en dit dans jazz. La ka parti, ka boire champagne, ka danser, ka tirer portrait, ka bailler speech comme quoi c'est lui qui primaire ministre tourisme cette ici Germany. Mais moi ka doutim. Honnête il est ka ni pour payer pour ça il a fait cette ici. Li ek gang se bougla yo ni là qui ka mené cette ici descend. Et ça pas ni rien pour faire politique tim. C'est pour ça a mal managé pays ça et qu'il allait pour ces noms ça couiller élection pour nous ça un soulagement et puis pour nous ça ouais qui manière nous ka vier bâtir pays ça encore. Merci Tim.
OK, merci pour couiller. 4522979 WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Amanda, what is happening in the chat room?
Team, a few comments from me. Someone says there, Team, that's the desperation of SLPs. They will say anything. It doesn't have to make sense. Another comment reads, don't put anything past Guy. A NewsSpinner says there, I'm appalled by the nerve of these people who are defending the lack of governance by this administration. Another comment reads, if we had to go by the records, you would think that this country has been managed by saints of St. Lucia. It is unimaginable that throughout history, no one has been held accountable for misbehavior in political office. Is it because our politicians have hands that are so clean, or because they are beyond the reach of the law, which has been touted as having hands so long? Someone please make it make sense. Another comment reads, did the contractor not say in the same documentary that the low ceilings are only in the canteen area? The impression from some callers is that the entire hospital has low ceilings. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much. Still to come, some more of your calls, your WhatsApp messages, and what is happening in the Castries Harbor. This is the most monitored talk show in the world.
On Saturday, June 14th, as the island ignites at Lumina, taking over Project Chocolat, Mikal Teja. Mikal Teja. Mikal Teja.
Lauren say it cold out in New York City. If you hear she ballin', I need a little rundown.
Alongside soca sensations Ezra and Sly. Backed by the electrifying Impulse Band. Music by Hype Kid, A1 Jugglers, the Caleb DJ Sir Lancelot. Powered by Island Sounds. Hosted by MC Donoville. Tickets $130, no door sales. Get yours at the Cell, Island-wide, Mambo's Bar in Soufriere, or online at 4circlestickets.com. On Saturday, June 14th, Lumina. From 7 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. Dress code Caribbean chic.
Lucelec wishes to advise customers and the public that its customer service offices at the Carolec building in Sans Souci and Vieux-Fort are temporarily closed to facilitate urgent maintenance. The Lucelec Cantonment office in Vieux-Fort is now open on a limited basis, offering all services except payments. The Rodney Bay office remains open to serve customers. Customers who wish to make payments during this closure are encouraged to access the My Account service at myaccount.lucelec.com. Sure Pays online and walk-in service options or participating financial institutions. Payments made via Sure Pay and My Account Direct on weekdays from 8 to 4 p.m. will be processed to customer accounts the same day. Payments made after 4 p.m. will be processed the next business day. For account balances, please dial the automated account inquiry service line at 457-4433. Customers can access other Lucelec services by using the virtual service desk at www.lucelec.com. The management of Lucelec deeply regrets any inconvenience caused by these closures and thanks its valued customers for their patience and understanding.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Here's a fun fact. In just 29 seconds, you can say goodbye to paper bills forever. Seriously, in 29 seconds. That's less time than this ad. Head over to discoverflow.co or visit us in-store and update your contact information now. By October 1st, your bills will be digital, easy to access, secure, and hassle-free. So what are you waiting for? This ad still has 2 seconds left, and you could have already gone paperless.
I in a good spirit. I drink in a good
St.
spirit.
Lucia, are you ready for the ultimate all-inclusive?
Chalet Blanc, the all-white event. Tier 1 now available at Frontline Ticketing, Eventbrite, Digital Baywalk Mall, 4 Circles Ticketing, or WhatsApp at 240-344-8629. A musical journey curated by the best local and international DJs. St. Lucia Carnival Saturday, July 19th, 1 p.m. to 8 p.m.
At Sanders Golf and Country Club, Capra State.
Look something to talk about.
Unlimited drinks, brunch buffet, top-class entertainment.
Stay tuned. This event is powered by One Golden Fox and Natalie Events.
Stop. How much more pain can you take? Back pain, blinding headaches, numbness, weak knees, spinal injuries, stroke. You've tried everything. Nothing works. Enough. La Clinique du Corps has the experts and technology to diagnose and fix the problem permanently. Our specialist doctors use cutting-edge solutions to treat back pain, knee pain, sciatica, stroke recovery, spinal injuries, arthritis, heel pain, and more. With advanced pain management techniques, we provide fast, effective relief so you can live pain-free. La Clinique du Corps is an approved universal healthcare service provider in St. Lucia, accepting all approved insurance. Take back your life. Call La Clinique du Corps right now at 451-6559 to book your appointment. Pain stops here.
Get ready to jazz up your relaxation with M&C Home Depot and Sunbelt. This jazz season, we're turning up the style and the savings. Starting May 5th, enjoy 25% off umbrellas, folding chairs, and coolers. Pure jazz bliss. But hurry, it's for a limited time only. Head to M&C Home Depot or Sunbelt today and get 25% off and celebrate jazz in comfort and style. See in-store and online for details. Sale ends May 11th. Terms and conditions may apply.
Experience the magic of the St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival 2025. The ultimate celebration on May 11th, Pigeon Island National Park. Dance under the stars with Earth, Wind, and Fire. Grammy-winning John Legend. The Lao Teaser Band will take you on a fusion journey of jazz. The legendary St. Lucian talent of Ronald Boo Hinkson. Pianist and composer Richard Payne. The St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival. Purchase tickets at all sell outlets and stluciajazzandartsfestival.com.
This is the most monitored talk show in the world. It is on the NewsSpin Facebook page as well as YouTube channel and Power 97.9 FM. Rick Wen is on the line via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you, sir. You are on there.
Hello, Tim.
Hi, good afternoon to Rick.
What did you think? What did you think was remarkable about Shelton Daniels' broadcast statement regarding Guy Joseph?
As I said earlier on, it shocked me that he, as a staunch supporter of the St. Lucia Labour Party, would give the impression that Guy is such a threat to any SLP administration, particularly in the parliament, that every effort should be made to ensure that he remains outside because of the kind of influence he could have on Mr. Shastney if he wins, the momentum he can give to the opposition in the island's parliament.
But wouldn't that apply to any member of the United Workers' Party that the Labour Party was referencing? Wouldn't they say similar stuff? Maybe he said it stronger than most, But wouldn't they say the equal of that?
No, but what he
when they talk about Alan Chasney,
because don't forget what he said about the Bradley Phillips. He says that Bradley Phillips is just there basically occupying a seat. He does not have the kind of drive that Guy Joseph has, the kind of enthusiasm and influence that he has.
Even that is not new. Don't misread me too early, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make some points. But even that is not new because the Labour Party, especially in Parliament, has expressed all kinds of contempt with regard to Bradley Phillips.
No. As a matter of fact, no. They have been embracing. They've been saying you're on the wrong side. Come on our side. I don't think they will say that. They will not say that of Guy Joseph.
All kinds of ways to him. They have said he's afraid to speak out. They've effectively said he's a house slave. They have said he's in the wrong place. Why is he following Alan Chasney? They've said all kinds of things unflattering about Bradley's demonstrated loyalty to his party
but they
and his leader.
But they have never said that every effort should be made to ensure that Bradley is not re-elected. They have never said that.
So what we are talking about is the degree of what's the word I'm looking for? Venom in the statement. Is that what's attracting our attention?
That's what caught my attention.
All right, okay. But I want to point this out, Tim. Do you think that there's anyone in the Labour Party, in the United Workers' Party camp, who doesn't feel 10 times worse about Richard Frederick than the Labour Party feels about Guy?
I don't know how they feel about.
No one has to speculate.
I don't have. I could imagine that now they see him as this this individual who is a menace to them.
They don't see Frederick as a menace.
They see him as a menace.
A menace.
Yeah.
I agree. Exactly. Now, if the United Workers' Party see Frederick as a menace, and all they do is wimp out, don't attack him, don't jump all over him, don't expose him as a menace, etc., etc., whose fault is that? Because the guy has free speech to say whatever he wants to say, especially about politicians. So I am not surprised what he said, the venom in what he said, at all. Obviously, they consider Guy one of the stronger forces of the United Workers' Party, rightly or wrongly. Obviously, they see that, so they go after that. On the other hand, I have heard Shelton Daniel pleading with people, even members of his own party, to please come and support Richard Frederick on his show.
I have heard that. Yes, I have, and I found it very strange that he would have made that statement.
Well, it's not strange to me. It's called campaigning. It's called doing what you have to do. It's called doing whatever it takes to win, and that's what he is trying to do. So I am abhorred by people, and I'm not referring to you because you're doing a show. Those people who will just sit there. How could Shelton do something so low? How could Shelton do that? But they're not doing anything to make certain that Guy gets into office, that Alan Chasney and their party get into office. Nothing of that remarkable. My thing is, Tim, I hate losers generally. Bodybuilding is my thing, it's my soul, it's my everything. Winning, athletics, the only thing I think of is winning, and winning by whatever means, including if I can duck under the rules and the referee doesn't see me. Happens every time in football, happens in boxing, happens all the time. Even in the House of Parliament, if the speaker didn't catch your light, it didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
So my thing is, I am fed up hearing, and I'm not speaking about your show today, I am fed up hearing UWP types moaning when the Labour Party goes out of its way, whatever, to protect the victory and whatever. And they complain about that. While themselves, they think it's a joke, writing all kinds of silly little jokes on the chat rooms. Very often. Let me tell you something rough about the United Workers' Party. They ain't going to like me today, Tim. The Labour Party, Tim, and I'm sure you're in a position to answer that, but I will not put you on the spot. The people in the media who openly support the Labour Party, or even if you're not in the media and you're a caller in support consistently of the Labour Party, trust me, the Labour Party treats you like you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. The United Workers' Party is notorious, I'm not talking about just now, for taking it for granted, Tim. So they're quite happy to sit there. When they lose badly, then they start to complain, and usually they turn on one another. Maybe if Alan was black. Maybe if a guy was a saint. Nobody's making any noise, for example, that the same guy, Joseph, who's targeted, was the guy who inspired this extra money we're paying monthly to a special prosecutor who does not report to us. Right?
And therefore, against that background, we believe that more people should come out, supporters of the opposition should support him.
Supporters of the opposition, because I am interested in it, and not as a supporter, I'm interested as a citizen, as someone who has specialized in that kind of stuff for about 40, 50 years here, that our officials take us for nothing. We like dirt to be walked on. The DPP's office may as well not exist. The special prosecutor may as well not exist. Ministers of government tell you that's not your business, etc. And I'm going to ask you again, I want to rub this in. When they cussing out Rick Wynn is his friend, all kind of bullshit, whether he's my friend or not my friend, as to where a country is going. If you believe it's good under the government, support it. But if you don't believe it's good, then you have to do something about that. I ask you again, but maybe the fifth time, who among us as a people, a population, who among us are best placed to find ourselves millionaires in 5 years with no questions asked when there was no sign of us having any kind of serious money before? Who among us, what category of people you think find themselves in that position?
Supporters, influential supporters of the governing parties?
No, the people are the politicians first and foremost. First and foremost. I'm just reading, talking about Guy Joseph and St. Jude. I'm just reading something that is somebody pointed out to my notice. Listen to this thing. Truth will always remain a floatable entity, no matter the level of effort to suppress the truth. It will always rise to the surface. This morning, someone sent me a clip of statements made by Mr. Guy Joseph, in which he stated that I made comments on the cost of completion of St. Jude's Hospital. I have never made any such statements, and I challenged Mr. Joseph to produce documentary evidence to support his claim. I recall that I was asked to visit the St. Jude's Hospital with the St. Jude Medical and Dental Association after the last administration had commissioned a report which to date has never been made public. And there were comments to suggest that the entire project would be abandoned. The doctors who were assembled at St. Jude's that afternoon were all of the opinion that the project was salvageable. Interesting word, salvageable. I was asked by an HTS reporter after the site visit as to whether abandoning the site was prudent given the amount of government had spent to date. And my comment was that the defects, shortcomings can be addressed, and that the rectification of those defects, shortcomings will cost, as I recall, between the sum Mr. Joseph is now postulating. Of course, he doesn't mention what the sum is. The sum Mr. Joseph is now postulating. The cost of completion of the hospital was never the issue raised. The cost of completion of the hospital was never the issue raised. It was whether the project can be salvaged. Mr. Joseph's lack of understanding of engineering matters may at times bring an understanding of the comments he makes. Statements such that 3 shifts working for 6 months, as he's writing it, can complete a project that is scheduled for 18 months will never be made by anyone who understands construction. In the spirit of forgiveness, just maybe he did not understand what I said back then. You are forgiven, my brother. Can you think of a greater insult to a people, Tim? That John Peters would write that on his Facebook page, which will more than likely in the circumstances be read only by his party's followers, the government's followers, as opposed to making himself available for his own reputation, for the reputation of the people who do his work, and for the reputation of the government others. Don't you think, John Peters, the ideal thing would have been to make himself available to you, to say those things, and allow you opportunity to question him on those things?
That would be the ideal, Rick.
That,
that would be the ideal, but do not expect the ideal actions to always be taken in the interest of the people.
That is my problem. My problem is, while I don't expect people to be perfect because I'm a long way from that, I expect people to hold up the oaths they take, the jobs they undertake, especially when it's public service. The taxpayers are paying for all those boo-boos. How much money have we so far sunk into St. Jude? I had the figure now is 200 something.
What, the reconstruction?
I heard before it was 400 million.
The reconstruction overall? I think it's about at least 400 million, you know.
But exactly.
At least that.
But nobody is talking about that and demanding an accountability. If the special prosecutor has nothing to do, which obviously has nothing to do, he said nothing of consequence to anybody. The one time he spoke, it sounded like a cheap-ass civic lesson in civics. Couldn't this guy have been assigned? Couldn't the people of this country, since he's doing nothing that we can see, put him onto St. Jude and give us some answers as to how the monies we've spent on St. Jude have been spent? Couldn't with him?
Because I think the authorities are going on the assumption that no one should be held accountable for St. Jude. They don't see it as his remit.
The government, the politicians, I rather say, the politicians, it's not even an assumption. The politicians are convinced that this is a nation of idiots. This is a nation of half a loaf. This is a notion that will turn on itself rather than confront what they need to confront, which is accountability. You want to tell me serious? I'm sorry about the time, Jim. You want to tell me seriously at this point there are people who don't know they must demand answers regarding Galaxy, canals, whether it's 1 billion or 20 billion, why we haven't had reports. You want to tell me there are not enough St. Lucians who care enough about themselves, their history, where their country is going, the likelihood of serious problems coming out of Trump City, and so on and so on, that we're just sitting around like birds, hoping to catch a crumb, fighting one another, killing one another. Just like that, no resolution, no institution is working. Every now and again, the police will tell you something that's convenient for them, but you have no way of validating, because nobody validates anything for you. Tim, I mean, and all this, and another thing is your chat room and others I read. Leave it to God. Leave it to God. God doesn't want to care about this goddamn thing you've created. That is not what God is there for. God has told you, He gave you everything you need to live in this world. All God told you is to be thankful you're alive, and He has kept you alive. But all those things you're calling on God to do, you're insulting God, moron. By waiting.
Thank you so much for your contribution as always, sir. That was our famous or infamous contributor to the broadcast, veteran journalist Rick Wayne. Well, the Castries harbor as we speak is teeming with the sargassum seaweed, and somebody pointed me to this situation early on today and also provided me with a video. Now, it was just a few days ago that sargassum seed had taken over the VG Beach area. It is normally associated with communities on the island's east coast. For example, you have Dennery and Miku on Prale, and also Sandy Beach over in VA4 and Savans Bay. But I think this is a first for us on the island, the sargassum seaweed taking over the Castries harbor. Unfortunately, we are not in the cruise ship season. I think it ended in April. That's just a few days ago, last month. And we have a next cruise ship that is scheduled to be in port on the 30th of this month. And intermittently, we'll have some cruise ship visits maybe in July, August, or thereabout. But it's not as hectic as the October to April period. And this is a problem which has definitely plagued not only St. Lucia, but the Caribbean from the year 2011. You're looking at 14 years now that countries in the Caribbean have had to grapple with the seaweed, the sargassum seaweed problem. And it will persist with climate change and so many other changes with regard to the environment. Just recently, the tourism minister, Mr. Dr. Ernest Hilaire, did promise to deal with this particular problem at the Fiji Beach. I don't know how successful he has been as far as this is concerned. One other development, the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Mr. Philip J. Pierre, and his counterparts, they met yesterday with the U.S. Secretary of State, Mr. Mark Rubio, and they would have discussed several issues that would include drug and weapons trafficking, illegal immigration, and regional security. And they were also urged to improve border controls. And imagine the U.S. Secretary of State says relations with China and Cuba is also an issue. In particular, the threat of visa restrictions for governments and officials engaged with Cuba's medical brigade, as it is being labeled as a form of forced labor. So those OECS leaders, including our own Prime Minister, would have met with the U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, yesterday. He's hoping we'll get an update from the Prime Minister in terms of what was really discussed during that tete-a-tete. Our NewsSpin question of the day: what's up with St. Lucia's Civil Service Association? That's an issue we can discuss during the course of our program tomorrow, God willing. The question of the day: what's up with St. Lucia's Civil Service Association? And finally, the NewsSpin news of the day reads, news from the UK: the government to make it a crime to climb onto Winston Churchill's statue in Parliament Square. In news out of the UK, the government to make it a crime to climb onto Winston Churchill's statue in Parliament Square. That's the broadcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show, NewsSpin. My name is Timothy Poleon. Goodbye.